the DeSantis campaign would talk about $100 million ground game and Team Sanity and all of his surrogates would talk about how wonderful the ground game is. Well, here's the interesting thing. Nobody ever saw the ground game. What did we see? Let's go by what we saw. We saw horrible interviews.
If you are in the cartels cutting through our fence to bring drugs in, that's going to be the last thing you do because we're going to leave you stone cold dead.
The only thing you can do with stone cold dead is just laugh because it's just so idiotic. Or when they showed him and he did that photo op and he's at the border and he's coming out of a helicopter. I mean, it's just atrocious when he did the anti-gay type of stuff and made an endorsement of that ad and that it's, fair territory. And
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens.
If Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses.
That is correct.
In the future, can transgender women compete in Miss Universe?
Yes.
Make America great again.
Psych!
Think of anything more horrifying.
It really has shut down drag.
Just produced some of the harshest, most draconian laws that literally threaten trans existence.
Congratulations, Ron DeSantis. Mission accomplished. You win.
To San Francisco. The thing is this, those are not compatible at all with having a real ground game. I mean, this is politics 101. I mean, this is nothing this is not advanced philosophy of politicking, of retail campaigning or anything else. You cannot have a ground game and also have that type of inflammatory rhetoric. Let me explain. And then we'll go into how it worked for Trump. So if I say, okay, so they have this $100 million ground game, which means they've got a lot of door knockers, right? So these door knockers are going to knock on your door, and then what they're going to do is they're going to collect micro-demographic information on you, micro-targeting information on you, ask you about where you like to eat, what are the things, they're going to make, and they're going to make sure that there's repetition, that there's repeated touches with you. And also to encourage you to do house parties and all this other type. I could go into this forever. Nevertheless, and they're going to try and keep you activated, engaged, and trying to enlist your friends and enroll your friends and to activate you, to keep you constantly activated, right? And emotionally kind of tethered to the success of the campaigns that becomes part of your identity, right? So that's what a ground game is. And I'm just going to talk about DeSantis with us for a second. So now let's say somebody knocks on your door. And just imagine right now somebody knocks on your door and they say, hey, do you think we should, DeSantis says we should shoot people stone cold dead. We want you to sign that you agree with this. Are you going to agree with that? Are you seriously going to agree with somebody who wants you to collect your telephone number and your signature to something that says you want to shoot people crossing the border under any circumstances stone cold dead? Well, they're not giving you a thing that only if it's a cartel person and they've gone through a jury trial and then you get to shoot them stone cold dead, or if they're child predators and they've been convicted of it. No. DeSantis says he wants to, if somebody's cutting through the border and they're a cartel person, you want to shoot them, we're going to shoot them stone cold dead. Do you agree with this? Sign here and we're going to text you 10 times a day. Are you freaking crazy? You're going to sign that? You're going to slam the door and you're going to start shivering that you hope they don't snitch on you. You hope they don't go down the street and say, hey, Joe down the block agrees with DeSantis that he wants to kill these people stone cold dead. Joe lives at 1518 Monroe Street. It's not going to happen. DeSantis endorsed that the anti-gay insane commercial and that everybody now knows about. Are you going to sign? So now the door knocker comes on your door and is going to say, hey, listen, DeSantis hates gays a lot more than Trump does. We want you to sign here. We're going to call you 20 times a day. We're going to text you. We want to know all the names of your friends. We want you to download this app. Are you going to do that? Are you high? your kids are going to get beat up in school the next day. And not only do you morally find it reprehensible because, right, we're all normal people, uh, but then they're going to say, well, DeSantis is anti-woke.
Florida, we fought the woke all across the board. And as president, I will fight the woke in the corporations. I will fight the woke in the schools. I will fight the woke in the halls of Congress. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. We are going to leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history.
We want you to agree, sign here that you're anti-woke. They're like, well, hold on. Tell me what you mean by anti-woke. It can be twisted so easily that you're also afraid that if you attach your name to it, that it's something that's is going to make you perceived as being wrong, because you also realize how volatile that type of a subject is. Defending that, are you going to have an Antifa person confront you right in the face where they're wearing a helmet and say, hey, you signed this that said that you want to shoot immigrants stone cold dead and you don't want to give children their medicines? You're not going to do it. So you cannot have inflammatory rhetoric and a ground game. If you want to have a ground game, you've got to have pictures of happy kids and say, hey, do you want your kids to be happy? Yes. Do you like the sunshine? Yes, I do. We'll sign here. We're going to call you 10 times. We're going to call you 10 times a month when the sun is shining to let you know the sun is shining. Are you down with that? Yes, I am. You see the difference. The ground game, you just want them to collect your information. And do you agree, like the Reagan, my friend John Robb said, the DeSantis slogan should have been something like morning in America. Somebody knocks on your door and says, would you like there to be morning in America? You're going to agree with that. Of course you're going to agree with that. We're all going to agree with that. Okay, DeSantis wants to bring morning to America. Do you think that America should recover their manufacturing base and that Biden isn't doing a good enough job of it? Yes, okay, I'll sign on that. Sure. I'm a Democrat. I'll sign on that. What do I care? I can defend that. No one's going to beat me up for saying that, right? I'm not exposing my family or my kids or anybody to any physical jeopardy. Of course I'm going to do that. So a ground game is incompatible with the type of rhetoric, the type of marketing, the type of slogans that were being deployed and employed by DeSantis and all of his surrogates. Somebody knocks on your door and says, hey, you know what? DeSantis says that Vivek is trying to hide his Hinduism and he's trying to mask himself as a Christian. Sign here. We're going to send you 10 emails a day telling you that Vivek is really just a lying piece of trash. You going to sign that? Of course you're not going to sign. Are you crazy? Now let's go to Trump, okay? So the ground game is designed to get out the vote, GOTV, right? Get out the vote. And now ground games can go very, very bad. And now we're going to talk about Trump. Trump didn't need a ground game because his rhetor, and he's very good at the delivering. By rhetor, I'm not just talking about the words. I'm also talking about the stylistics of it. I'm talking about the props. I'm talking about the gestures. So when I think of rhetor, I'm also thinking of the hat, right? A hat is a prop. It's part of rhetor, right? It's the stylistics of how a person uses their voice and modulates their voice and their engagement and interaction. And even the way that Trump presented it was very approachable, even in these huge arena type of settings. He felt very approachable. That was all what I think of as rhetoric, okay? But Trump did use inflammatory type of rhetoric, but that was his get out the vote, you see? So that was, when you have that type of a rhetoric that's used that tactically, that is a get out the vote. It's gonna drive votes, okay? Now what happened is Hillary Clinton in 2016, Eric Schmidt created Groundworks, which was designed to do a lot of micro-targeting and build a bunch of layers on top of some technology so they could figure out who's who. And what they wound up doing is they wound up activating dormant Trump voters. So their get out the vote, Hillary's get out the vote, actually activated dormant Trump voters. So get out the votes can also, and those ground games can also work horribly bad. Trump relied on a Netroots. So his get out the vote, using his type of rhetoric and inflammatory and using this type of imagery that he used and everything, which was done very tactically, hold on for 1 second, Nancy. His relied on a lot on Netroots. So in 2020, with kind of COVID coming out, it was very clear that they were trying to break up Trump's Netroots, because Netroots relies on people actually convening, right? So the Trump get out the vote required kind of neighborhood type of kind of a collaboration within neighbors to drive each other to the vote, to have town meetings, to watch the debates, the Trump debates. All of us, hosted or watched someone's house or friend's house or however we did it, watched debates with Hillary and Hillary versus Trump versus Jeb Bush, the legendary one with, your mom should have run and your brother lied. We were all watching these type of things, and a lot of us were watching it at a neighbor's house, and we were roots, and then you heard that there's going to be another debate and next month, and you all got together again and do it. So Trump really needed the 2016 Trump really relied on the net roots, and 2020 was designed ground up to break the Trump net roots movement, because it requires kind of the intimacy of people, while as the ground game, which is total bullshit anyway, but this mythological ground game at least doesn't require that. The ground game, so to speak, is much more dependent upon technology. So you collect all this information and you deploy it using a superior technology. And I will tell you this, interestingly enough, as I'm so familiar with all the statistics of these things and other elements of it, and just from real world experience, ground games actually don't really make that big of a difference. If you don't have a good candidate, I'm going to make up a number, and I'm going to say maybe it's going to bump a good ground game, a good to get out the vote, that's far superior to your opponents. The difference will maybe move, maybe 2 to maybe 5 or 6% of a vote. So in a close race, it certainly is going to make a big difference. But we all knew that DeSantis v. Trump was never going to be a close race. Either it was going to be DeSantis dominant or it was going to be Trump dominant. There was never going to be a neck and neck.